Is it a video if we're not drinking Starbucks? Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for clicking on today's video. If you're new here, hi, I'm Jasmine. Welcome to the channel. Let's talk about that title. We're doing our mid-year book tag. First of all, are we really in July? Like, where has like half of the year gone? It literally feels like just yesterday it was January and I was reading my first book of the year. Like, what? We're gonna talk about what I've read for the first 6 months of the year. I have 16 questions that I am gonna answer. Let's get into the video. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. And yeah, why do I always get like so like my brain just goes blank? Okay, let's get into these questions. Okay, so if you guys don't know what the mid-year book tag is, it's basically just a bunch of questions, and essentially you answer them based on books that you've read for the first half of the year. So all of these questions are based on books that I've read from January to June. There's a total of 16 questions, and yeah, it took me a minute. I literally could not figure out 3 of them until like 2 minutes before this video. Like, nonetheless, we got it and we're ready now. So also I will put the questions in the description box if anyone wants to join in and do this tag themselves. Feel free to comment your answers to these questions in the comments. I would love to hear what you guys read and what are your thoughts and all of that. First question is, best book you've read in 2024. Guys, this was easy. So, oh gosh. So is Daisy Hates The Great Undoing. I still talk about this book. I still think about this book every single day. There's nothing I would change about this book. I can reread this book like over and over and over again and not get tired of it. It did not disappoint. Literally still my top book. I will honestly be surprised if like another book beats this. Well, I do have to read Magnolia Park's Into the Dark, but like, I'm a Daisy girl, so I still feel like I may end up liking this one more than the most recent Magnolia Parks book that came out. How many books have you read this year? This is only from January to June. We are in July now, so I will not be counting the books that I read in July. As of June 30th, 2024, I have read 76 books. My Goodreads goal is, I believe it's 120 books. Yes, 120 books. So I am definitely on track to hitting that. Currently it says I'm 18 books ahead of schedule, but I really don't know. I guess they like, you know, I guess technically it will be 10 books a month, but you know, sometimes life, you don't always get to 10 books a month. So luckily I have a little filler there, and if I don't hit the goal, it's, you know, it's not the biggest thing in the world. It's just a fun goal and, you know, something to aim towards in my reading journey. Third question is the best sequel you've read so far this year. Dived into my Abby Jimenez era, and so I read Part of Your World and then I immediately picked up Yours Truly, and I gotta say this is probably the best sequel that I have read like ever. If you guys have not dived into Abby Jimenez, I highly recommend it. You will not turn back. Her writing is just so easy to fall into. It's just a beautiful world, and you know, all the vibes, the love, the romance, the tension, it's all there. And yeah, she knows what she's doing. A new release you haven't read but want to. My top book of the year that is a new release that I do want to read is Magnolia Park's Into the Dark. I'm terrified. That's just the honest truth about it. I'm terrified and I keep putting it off because, you know, the way Jessa did me with Daisy Hates The Great Undoing, I can only imagine what she's about to do to me with Magnolia and BJ in this book, especially this being the last book for Magnolia and BJ, like their story wrapping up. And yeah, I'm just quite literally utterly terrified. I feel like it does not matter how many times I pick this book for my TBR, I'm not gonna read it until I just learn to face the fear. And I don't know how to do that. I don't know, but I will read this book by the end of the year. Even if it's the last book of the year that I read, I will be reading this. Fifth question, most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Obviously, I do not have a physical copy of this book because it is not out yet, but it is The Songbird in the Heart of Stone by Carissa Broadbent. I'll put the cover here for you guys, but this is the third book in the Crowns of Noxia series. So we have the first two books, so it's the The Serpent and Wings of Night, and then you have the Ashes. I'm looking at the cover right now. The Ashes in the Starkhurst King. But then we also did get a little novella, which is Scorches and Roses or something. I can't remember. We got that novella. So yeah, the third book in that world, but it's gonna cover a different house of like the Crowns of Noxia series. Yeah, think of like, even like how in the Crescent City world there's different houses. So yeah, we're covering a different house in this like little part of the series. I am so excited. I absolutely love this series. The first two books literally was such an adrenaline rush. Like, I could not put them down. They literally delivered. So I have high expectations for this one. So Carissa, I'm waiting, girl. I am waiting. If you want to send your girl an early copy of ARC, best believe I will stop what I'm doing and I will read that, because I am literally counting down. I've already pre-ordered my copy and I'm gonna be waiting at the door for Amazon. I will be at the door waiting. Biggest surprise, and I have to go with City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. This what I experienced was not what I was expecting. Y'all, I absolutely love this one. I gave it 5 stars and I cannot wait to continue the series. I read the first 3 books of the Mortal Instruments. I'm trying to decide if I want to go in publication order or if I want to continue the Mortal Instruments fully before I hop into the next series. So let me know if you've read this, in what order did you read it? Did you stop midway in Mortal Instruments and then go into the other series, or did you go ahead and finish all of Mortal Instruments and then go into the other series? If you have not read this, I highly recommend it. I know it's like YA fantasy, but y'all, it's really good and it's easy to fall into the world. It's easy to fall in love with the characters and also easy to dislike the characters. So be prepared if you do decide to read this series. Okay, favorite author, debut or new to you? I gotta go with Abby Jimenez again. This was my first year ever diving into her writing, and I absolutely fell in love. Like I said, it pulled me out of my Jessa Hastings slump, and that right there, like that's enough to, you know, be one of my favorites, because if you can pull me out of Jessa Hastings slump, you have succeeded. Absolutely love Abby Jimenez. Like, I will read anything she writes. Newest fictional crush. I actually just recently read this book, so if you guys watched my June reading wrap up, you probably know what book this is, but I gotta go with Mr. Dante Russo, Mr. Mia Carter himself. I actually just finished reading King of Pride, but technically that's July, and let me tell you, Mr. Kai, y'all. But Dante Russo definitely was my most recent as of the first 6 months of the year, and you know, he's still high up on that list. Every single male character she has written, I have fallen in love with. Like, are we really surprised? Are we really surprised? If you have not read this, if you have not read Anna Wong, I highly recommend you read her. Like, definitely start with the Twisted series and then go ahead and come to the Kings of Sin series. She also has another series. I started it, I have not finished it. I actually need to just restart the whole series over again, but it's the If Love series, I think is what it's called. But cannot wait to start that one. But like I said, the king, y'all, the king himself, Mr. Dante Russo, you know, he down bad. That's what I am, down bad. A book that made you cry. This is one that was like really hard to pick, because I was really going through my Goodreads and I was like, what book? Like, when I thought about a book, I was like, I don't really, like, I can't think of a book that like made me cry and sob except Daisy Hates the Great Undoing. And I was like, well, I don't want to reuse that one, but just to let y'all know, I did cry. I sobbed. I absolutely sobbed during that book. But the other book that I remembered, or that when I went through I was like, okay, yeah, I did sob a lot. And I'm not talking about tears, I'm talking about sobbing. I'm not talking about little baby streaks of tears. Besides Magnolia Park's The Great Undoing, or Daisy Hates The Great Undoing, the only other book that made me sob like a baby, House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J. Maas. I actually have a reading vlog up on this book. Y'all, I literally was sitting in this corner of my couch bawling my eyes out, like hyperventilating with how hard I was crying. I was stuttering, I was hiccuping. The last, like, I don't know what Sarah J. Maas does, but the last always 100 to 200 pages of her books, they always wreck you. It doesn't matter, you're not going to escape the wreckage, you're going to get wrecked. And I go into it every time knowing, and I'm still gonna read it. I'm gonna still read her books. It is what it is. That's what it is. Next question is a book that made you happy. And this was another one that was hard because I was like, well, a lot of books have made me happy, but like when I really think about it, what book just had me cheesing? I gotta go with The Legacy by Elle Kennedy. So I started this series at the end of last year and absolutely loved it. I know this is like one of her OG series, so I was like, I finally need to dive into it. Like, come on, I was behind. So yes, the whole series I love, but I absolutely love The Legacy. This is a compilation of short stories, and it covers each couple that we met in all 4 books. And yeah, it was just like this book felt like wrapping it up and putting it on a bow, and putting a bow on it. Like that's what this series, like that's what this book did for the series. It just like nice wrapped it up and put a nice little bow on it, and I just could not ask for more. Literally absolutely devoured, and I still think about these couples. And you know, I hope, well, I know we got the new little spin-off series that focuses on like the kids, so like I cannot wait to dive into that. I will be eating that up. But yeah, if you want, this is how you end a series. I feel like this is how you end a series without breaking my heart. So if you have not read it, definitely, it's the Off-Campus series, so I highly recommend that you read that. The most beautiful book you've bought this year or received. So it's actually 2 books. One of them I pre-ordered, they have not come out yet. And I know what y'all thinking, Jasmine, how many times are you gonna mention this series? But y'all, it's literally my top series in the world, but it is the Magnolia Park series, Magnolia Park Daisy Hates series. So the 3 books, the Magnolia Parks books, they have released for pre-order on Black Whales. I will give a little, if I can find a picture, I'll put a picture here so you guys can see what they look like. Cannot wait to have like these in my apartment. I cannot wait to display them. I will literally become obsessed with these books once they get here. Like I had never run to Black Whales so fast and submitted an order the way I did these books. The other book I actually do have, and I actually got this one when I was in Kentucky. It's the Pride and Prejudice, the Puffin and Bloom edition. And guys, absolutely love this. The minute I saw it, I knew I had to have it. It is just literally so beautiful. I love that it has a quote on the back. Like, I just love, even this is just literally beautiful. I cannot wait to read this. I know I'm probably not going to read this copy because I keep this on display, and you know, I just want it to stay like this. Like, it's just so beautiful. Next question is, what books do you need to read by the end of this year? So the way I answered this question, I have a 24 books I want to read for 2024 that I filmed at the beginning of this year. It is also on my channel if you guys want to go check that out. But that is my priority TBR for the year, and I have 13 books left on that I need to read, so I will just go through them really quickly. I did not bring that stack because that would be a big stack to go through, but I have Binding 13, Assassin's Blade, Addicted to You, Indigo Ridge, Brutal Prince, Mile High, The Fine Print, Light Lark, Kingdom of the Villains, The Nanny, Magnolia Park's Into the Dark, All My Kisses for You, and Daydream. So yeah, I think that's 13 books. Those are the ones that I am like, this is your priority that you need to finish by the end of the year. Not need to, but like you need to prioritize it, you know. A lot of them are first books in the series, so you know, I will be going into a lot of series. That is, you know, for sure. I do have plans already for 3 of them that I know I will be reading coming this fall, so I'm super excited about that. How many 5 stars have I read this year? I have read 12 5 stars from January to June, and I do not regret any of the 5 stars. The only one that I did give 5 stars that I'm kinda like, I think I bumped it down to like a 4 is House of Flame and Shadow, but I will talk about that. I will be doing a 5-star reads video after this one for the first half of 2024, so I will touch on that about why I may have changed my rating on that book. Next question is, what books do you want to reread this year? I got 2. The first one is Powerless by Elsie Silver. Guys, I think about this book every day still. Jasper and Sloane, they literally are my Roman Empire. Literally was telling someone this, I think I did it on my live reading sprints, but for me, you have Flawless and Hopeless. Like, think of a pyramid. You have Flawless and Hopeless, and then, or not a pyramid, I guess, because then it would have to be 3, 2, 1. But yes, it'll have to be 3, 2, 1. But just think of 2, 2, 1, okay? That's what we're doing. So you have Flawless and Hopeless, and then you have Heartless and Reckless, and then you have Powerless sitting at the top. Like, literally, that's my little pyramid of the Chestnut Springs world. The next book that I want to reread, y'all, I promise this is the last time I'm mentioning this series, but it is Magnolia Parks. I do want to do a full reread and annotation of this series. I like slightly did an annotation when I read them the first time, but like I really want to like do a whole like tab guide and like really dive into it. But first I gotta read Magnolia Parks Into the Dark, so you know, that's priority before I go and do a full reread. A book you enjoyed with mixed reviews, gotta go with House of Flame and Shadow. Originally I thought everybody loved this. I really thought everyone devoured this book as much as I did, and after hearing other people's reviews, a lot of things I was like, you know, they got a point. But I do consider this has mixed reviews. I know people who love it, I know people who absolutely hate it, and if you go on Goodreads, I think, you know, that speaks for itself. But I am on the enjoyed it side. I'm still contemplating if I'm on a 5-star side, but I'm definitely on the enjoyment side of this. I do not regret my time reading it. I can definitely see myself rereading it, but I wouldn't like jump to reread it. Final question is 5-star prediction for the rest of the year. The Mindfuck series by S.T. Abbey, and I hear nothing but good things about this series. I know it's really like 5 short books, but you know, you can also read, you know, they come in one thick book. I do know this one is, I think it's a like a serial killer woman, and she ends up dating like the guy on the investigation or something like that. Very, very interesting. It just sounds like it's a gripping story. So yes, that is my 5-star prediction for the second half of 2024. Those are the questions. Like I said, I will list the questions in the description box. Thank you guys for watching. And like I said, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and leave a comment. Let's have some conversations. Love you guys, and yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.